What do you think would be worse, being a kind lady named Karen, or having a son who plays sports, whose name is Brandon?
Well, hello. I don't talk much on here, but I wanted to do a quick TikTok. We just moved to a southern state due to our lives being in danger, so I'm not telling you where we're at, but I have a son that is gay, and I'm trying to find a church we can go to because he's a Christian and as well as I am, but we're progressive, and I am finding out really fast that he's not going to be accepted here. I've already been told no to one church. The others do not sound promising. Our only choice is to drive 2 hours to church every Sunday for him to feel welcome. It's a sad situation. And come on, Christians, we need more progression. That would be you. That is not the Christian. Okay, I'm going to catch a lot of hate here, but I'll give you my credentials first. And please listen to the whole video, and it might be 2 parts, but listen to the whole thing before you send any hate. Okay, 1, I spent 30 years in a classroom teaching. And that classroom just happened to be just south of the Michigan line. And I can promise you that Michigan has police. And so the whole thing, in my opinion, at this point, we need to wait and find out all the facts before everybody jumps to conclusions. Because I tell you what, if that had happened in our school, hopefully what would have happened is that first he asked for help. Well, get him out of that room and get him to the counselor. The counselor then, if he says anything or is worried about those pictures, calls in the principals. The principals at this point ask to look in his bag and search his locker. If they don't, they call the police. And the police come and search his locker and his bag. If anything is found, they immediately go into a lockdown. If they don't go into a lockdown earlier, there's no reason they couldn't have gotten it into a lockdown. The parents don't take care of the problem, then call the parents in and tell them what they did. Okay? Because if he was a danger, the police could have detained him for psychiatric help and also for having a weapon on campus. Going into a lockdown, all that stuff could have occurred before they even called the parents. Now, all this civil rights, I'm as left as they come, okay? I'm all for civil rights, but I'm also, your rights stop where my rights begin. Your rights stop where my rights begin. I have a dangerous son. I removed him from the school. He's locked up, and I informed the school to never let him in the building again. Now, he doesn't have a weapon, but that doesn't mean he can't get one. But my responsibility is to tell the school, don't let him in.
Once more into the breach, we've established that the military budget is a little over $2 billion a day. There are approximately 550,000 homeless people in America. The average rent of a one-bedroom apartment across America is $1,500. Average. So if we were to house all 550,000 people, that would be $825 million a month, or $9.9 billion a year. Again, seems like a lot of money, but when you break it down to the yearly military budget, that is 4.5 days of the military budget year. So we could feed and house every single homeless person in America for 1 week of the military's budget. Would you be willing to give up 1 week of pay to make sure that everyone in your community is housed and fed? I would.
But I don't think Betty White died. Don't get me wrong. I know she passed, but I don't think she's too scrappy. I don't think death's allowed to take her without her permission. But I think she's always looking out for us. I think she saw everything we went through in 2020 and 2021, and she grabbed Death by the ear and pulled him close and said, "You take me to see God." And Death does it, but he's too nervous to take her because he knows that Betty White is the only person on the planet Earth that could scold God himself. And then she stands before God and goes, "I don't think you understand exactly what's going on down there." And God goes, I'm the creator of everything. I am Yahweh. Yeah. All men think they're important. I've worked with the best of them. You gotta fix this. Doesn't that sound more like Betty White, that she went to heaven just to raise all kinds of hell? Can we start a trend as a community, as a TikTok community, that if anything good happens in 2022, we just stop and we go, "Thanks, Betty White. Thanks, B-dubs. Betty White, we love you and we miss you, but we are proud to have a Betty White level guardian angel looking out for us. Achievement unlocked."
Hello. I don't talk much on here, but I wanted to do a quick TikTok. We just moved to a southern state due to our lives being in danger, so I'm not telling you where we're at, but I have a son that is gay, and I'm trying to find a church we can go to because he's a Christian and as well as I am, but we're progressive. And I am finding out really fast that he's not going to be accepted here. I've already been told no to one church. The others do not sound promising. Our only choice is to drive 2 hours to church every Sunday for him to feel welcome. It's a sad situation. And come on, Christians, we need more progression. Hello, everyone. I wanted to update you on our church situation. As you recall, if you watched one of our past videos that we're new to the area, my son is gay, and we were told point blank that we were not welcomed at one of the churches because of his being gay. And we are both Christians, and frankly, I'm not going to take him somewhere where he's going to be shamed for who he is. And so a gentleman came to my house because I was trying to get rid of a shed. Well, that didn't work out very well. But anyway, he's trying to talk me into coming and seeing his church, and everything sounded wonderful and great until we get to the part where I say, telling the story about how we were told we weren't welcome at this one particular church because of my son's homosexuality and being part of the community, alphabet community. And he just thought that was awful, just thought that was terrible, because that's not how you're supposed to be. No, you're supposed to love the person and hate sin. Wrong answer. I've been sitting here doing videos, and I kept thinking, I look like somebody, but I couldn't figure out who I looked like with this new haircut and these new glasses. And it finally dawned on me. Who remembers Sally Jesse Raphael? I thought I looked like somebody I knew.
My name's Dustin, and these are 5 questions for my future wife.
Go for it.
Question 1, what's your name?
Lisa.
Question 2, what's your favorite food?
Italian.
Question 3, Janice has 3 children. John is 2 years older than Tim, and Tim is 3 years older than Jim. Who won the 2020 election?
Joseph Biden.
Question 4, are you the type of person who likes to follow a recipe, or make things from scratch, or trust the vaccine?
Trust the vaccine.
Question 5, did you make a New Year's resolution? If so, where were you on January 6, 2021?
I was at home.
Duet with your answer.
In the beginning, you pointed at me and you laughed because I wore a mask, because I got my vaccine. You called me a sheeple and told me I was foolish while making animal noises at me. And I said nothing. Now here we are, and you sit and cry and mourn the loss of your dad, and I mourn with you, and I say nothing. Because through this whole thing, it wasn't about me. It wasn't my life I was trying to save. It was everybody else out there. So I'm sorry if you don't like that I wear a mask and you don't like that I have a vaccine. But I'm not doing it for me.
Do ba 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 do boo do.
Don't know what's going on. Just can't imagine. What in the world could be causing this? Indiana's got to figure this out. My goodness. Has anything happened in the last couple of years that might cause something like this happen? This is strange.
Damn right. I'd rather be a 1 all day long with a kick-ass personality than be a 10 and be a shitty person.
Let's talk a little bit about Generation X. The generation so terrifying they couldn't even give it a fucking name. So Gen Xers were raised in a very interesting period of time. They were raised by baby boomers, so they knew a very older and maybe kind of feral way to exist and live their life. But then they were also old enough, so when the internet and a lot of new technology started coming out, they also knew a lot more. So they had this kind of ability to cherry pick the best traits of baby boomers and millennials, which makes them some of the most dangerous fucking people in the world. Most of the Gen Xers I knew either went to the military, went to rehab, or went to jail. That means the ones that are left are fucking survivors. So for as many changes in music and style and culture that you think you've been through, in the last 50 years, they've been through the most. Also, mental illness wasn't trendy back then. So any kind of mental illness that they had, they usually didn't get any treatment for it. So they had to learn how to cope with it themselves. Medications weren't as delicate or as effective back then. And that leaves you with some very fucking interesting people. Get yourself a Gen X friend, but they'll probably just tell you to fuck off.
Hold on. Stop scrolling. This is for all my public school kids, so if you didn't go to a public school, you're not going to relate to this. But I'm about to say a phrase that is so common within the public school that I want to know how many of you guys can relate to it. So the school that I went to had about 3,000 plus kids at it, and we were always on the news for something. But the majority of the news coverage covered, like, student fights. Now, I had my fair share of arguments going to a public school, and every time I would come home talking shit about a classmate, my parents would say this one thing to me. So, all my public school kids, are you ready? Because if you've heard this, I want you to drop a like. I had a rule in my house, and my parents said, you can never start a fight, but you sure as hell are gonna finish it, because if you don't finish it, I'm still whooping your ass. So, let me know how many of you guys have actually heard this come out of your parents' mouths.
Okay, warning. This could be a little bit long. But I did a video about public school and about how parents say, don't ever mine said, don't ever throw the first punch, but make sure you throw the last punch. Now, that didn't mean that I got in trouble if I lost a fight. It just meant that I got in trouble if I didn't defend myself. It worked out. That was an issue only one time. And the girl hit me. I hit her back in the arm. And she wanted to be my best friend after that. So that hardly constituted as a fight. But I wanted to tell a story about my son. I was a public school teacher for many years. And then I retired after having a stroke. And I had taken my kids to, that noise is an ice maker. I had taken my kids to Taekwondo, and this one particular son was actually a black belt in Taekwondo. But because of all the tenets and all the rules, he was never allowed to use his black belt. But I have a dog here that's like a toddler. Every time you get on the phone or take a video, acts up. There. So, anyway. I just have a squirt bottle. It scares him. So, side note. And so, he never would use it. And he had this one kid that was bullying him so badly. And the school wouldn't do anything about it. This is probably going to be a two-parter. School wouldn't do anything about it. The kid kept picking at him, kept threatening him. The kid was twice his size. He knew that he would be, my son knew that if he fought this kid, that not only would he get expelled, but he would probably get kicked out of Taekwondo for using his black belt. But that's not the point. In Taekwondo, you can use it to defend yourself, so that's not it. So anyway, finally, I'd had enough of this kid terrorizing mine. And they wanted to save the other kid. They didn't want to get him in trouble. They talked to him. He wasn't going to do it anymore. They did everything, they're doing everything. They're trying really hard to work with this bully boy because they don't want anybody to fall through the cracks. And so, stay tuned for part 2. Okay, part 2 of the public school story. And so, like I said, I'd been a teacher, and it turned out my kids went to the same school that I taught at. And so, I knew most of the people, but some of the people have changed, and times definitely have changed. And so, this kid was relentlessly picking on mine. And we'd tried everything. I had gone into the school. He had, whenever he felt unsafe, he called me. The kid was always picking at him. So, I'd go into school. I'd have a meeting with the principals, and they would always take the side of the kid that was doing the bullying. Well, he's got a hard life. We're trying to, we want to save him. We don't want to throw him out, because we want to help him. And I'd be, well, I can understand that, but my child, and he was in 7th grade at the time, has every right to come to school without being afraid. And can't continue like this. Something has to be done. Oh, well, we'll keep talking to him. Well, it kept happening. So after I told my son, do not throw the first punch, but throw the last punch. I went into the school, and he had a problem. I went into the principal's office, and I got the same thing. Well, I talked to the boy, and he promised not to do it anymore. So, I'll have a talk with him. And I said, well, you go ahead and talk with him, but I'm going to tell you about a talk I had with my son. And, I used his name. And I said, I told him, don't throw the first punch. And all of a sudden that principal stepped up and said, we'll take care of it. I'll have him down. The rule, he made an agreement, he made a contract that he wouldn't bother your son anymore. He broke the contract. we'll take care of it. And all of a sudden, all problems were taken care of. I heard through the grapevine that they told the kid they were going to call the police and have him arrested if he tried to come near my son again. And so apparently the administration does not like us telling our kids to finish the fight. But that was my story of my telling my kids, don't throw the first punch, but make sure you throw the last punch. Hello, this is a comment to a comment I made on another page where a granddaughter is taking care of her grandmother with dementia. And I made a comment that she's talking about how she's watching people on YouTube and she's looking at TikTok and she's looking on Facebook and all these other places there where she can get information on dementia. Now, if you know one person with dementia, you know one person with dementia. It is, I swear, it's always better to be with family if at all possible. That is my wish. Also, I have dementia, and I made the comment that specialized training is overrated. I have had people in my home as caregivers that had training, and they are demeaning to me. I have been treated like I don't know how to talk. I've actually had people stop talking to me in the middle of a conversation because I had dementia. The people that want to learn can learn from me. I'm going to tell you that one particular person that's very famous on YouTube is insulting to those of us with dementia. She's supposed to be an expert, and yet she is talking down to dementia patients. She's making fun of things that go on with dementia patients when talking to caregivers, trying to get a big laugh, supposedly to get a big in the name of education. I have watched as much as I can of her. She has no clue as to why we do things the way we do, why we act the way we do. I've been diagnosed for a while. I've stayed steady. I know why we don't like showers. I know why we get confused. I know why I act out. I know why I get confused. They don't. It's all guessing games. Do not tell me I'm making dangerous comments, because I'm not. Unless you've walked in my shoes, you don't know what I've dealt with.
If I could turn back the clock and make sure the light defeated the dark.
Well, I got asked this question, and the answer is I'm in no way perfect. I'm not even close to perfect. So we just make the best we can out of every day and try to do the best we can every day and do the right thing when we can. And sometimes those are hard decisions, but we do what we have to, and nobody's perfect, including myself, so I'm not perfect in life in any way. But thanks for the question. I am responding to this comment. No one tells me to stop posting on my own account. You are not my father, and my father wouldn't tell me what I can and cannot say on my own account. This is getting ridiculous. The GOP is getting out of hand. They're ruining this country. I used to think it was just trumpeters, but I tell you what, this is getting out of hand. It is not being taught in high schools, it's being taught in colleges, and it's not taught in high schools or elementary schools. It's ridiculous. Get your head out of Trump's behind and learn something. He's been blocked. He won't see it.
White power.
You're live. 6 million viewers.
White pride's when you think it. White power is when you live it. You can shove that finger up your rabbi's ass. He's a Jew. Look at him. Guess where you're going back to?
You know how we know you're a Jew? We can tell by how close your eyes are together, you fucking cunt.
Oy vey! I'm gonna go tell somebody about this. Let me call my rabbi. What do you know? I think you're such a baby penis. It's a papa. What do you say? Let me suck the punch of the baby's penis like the rabbi does. Oy vey! Another satisfied customer. Come again.
Let's see. What is it the NRA always says? The only way to stop a bad guy is a good guy with a gun. Unless the bad guys outnumber the good guy and ambush the good guy. So when the bad guys with the guns ambush the good guy with the gun, the good guy loses and the bad guys get away with it. There is no excuse for what happened in Minneapolis. He had the right to carry a gun. That's what you all want. And they snuck up on him while he was in a deep sleep and executed him. They're the bad guys. He's the good guy with a gun.
Yeah, so this is the kind of gaslighting that I have absolutely zero tolerance for. Before the vaccines became available, we said, wash your hands. We said, cover your fucking mouth. We said, social distance. And you all looked at us and said, fuck you, I'm not doing it. Then we had the vaccines. Same thing. Same fuck you. And you're not even subtle about it. You're like, your health is not my responsibility. Oh, they died of COVID or did they die with COVID? Okay, so we lost millions of people worldwide. What were their underlying conditions? You weren't willing to do the actual bare minimum. So don't come here gaslighting us, asking for more solutions. We've given you all the solutions.
Hello out there in TikTok land. This is basically a TikTok for just a couple people, but the rest of you can join in. The reason I'm doing it on TikTok is because this is the only form of communication that there is between myself and the people I'm speaking to. So the rest of you can just join in and listen in. But don't make threats towards my sons or myself, because I am of sound mind and sound body. I am a far cry from being in a nursing home. And people that want to leave comments to attest to the fact that I'm nowhere near ready for a nursing home or any place like that, please do so, because we have some people that are poorly misinformed. Very much misinformed. That being said, don't threaten my sons that still claim me or myself. I am nowhere near in the condition you seem to think I'm in. You have no rights over me or any of your brothers. For those of you that watch my videos know that I am a bleeding heart liberal, a tree hugger. I believe in common sense gun laws, but I'm also a gun owner. I jump through the hoops that I'm supposed to jump through to own those guns. And I would just like to say, don't try anything. Don't come near me. Don't come near my family. Because things may not turn out the way you planned. Because I have put things in order so that if anything does happen, guess where all the fingers get pointed to? You're smarter than that. You stay away from all of us. Hello out there in TikTok land. This is basically a TikTok for just a couple people, but the rest of you can join in. The reason I'm doing it on TikTok is because this is the only form of communication that there is between myself and the people I'm speaking to. So the rest of you can just join in and listen in. But don't make threats towards my sons or myself, because I am of sound mind and sound body. I am a far cry from being in a nursing home. And people that want to leave comments to attest to the fact that I'm nowhere near ready for a nursing home or any place like that, please do so, because we have some people that are poorly misinformed. Very much misinformed. That being said, don't threaten my sons that still claim me or myself. I am nowhere near in the condition you seem to think I'm in. You have no rights over me or any of your brothers. For those of you that watch my videos know that I am a bleeding heart liberal, a tree hugger. I believe in common sense gun laws, but I'm also a gun owner. I jump through the hoops that I'm supposed to jump through to own those guns. And I would just like to say, don't try anything. Don't come near me. Don't come near my family. Because things may not turn out the way you planned. Because I have put things in order so that if anything does happen, guess where all the fingers get pointed to? You're smarter than that. You stay away from all of us.
Periods don't exist. And no, I don't mean punctuation. I mean the whole menstrual myth. The idea that once a week, every month for their entire adult lives, women bleed from their genitals, I just don't believe it. It's a complete hoax. They just want chocolate. They want attention. It's BS. My genitals have never bled. And I know lots of women, and I have never seen their genitals bleed. And therefore, it just doesn't exist. There might be one or two women out there who have experienced bleeding, but it's a small number, and it's by choice. They could stop bleeding if they wanted to. They like the attention. Everything I just said was complete and utter bull. I wanted you to hear how it sounds when white people claim that systemic racism doesn't exist because it doesn't happen to them.
And is day 6 of 2022, and now we got tornadoes in people's living rooms. I was ready to tap out when fish were raining from the sky. I don't know what to do with this information.
Okay, so I went to go get a haircut, but I got blue hair, but it's coming off a little bit. You know whose house I'm actually at. Do you know Lisa from TikTok? Yeah, I am her aunt, which is my Aunt Lisa. So, yeah. Blow this video up.
So fucking tired of living through major historical events every other goddamn day! Fuck! Knock it out!
Tell you my secret now. I see dumb people walking around like regular people.
Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.
Mom. I was just told by my mom, who I don't have a great relationship with in the first place. I was just told that I was the biggest mistake of her life. I mean, I have borderline and bipolar, but I'm a good kid. Now you'd become a grandmother because I have my baby. His name is Connor. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I mean, if you become my TikTok mom, you have to like kids. But I just want a mom that cares and doesn't use my mental illness against me. And a mom that doesn't think I'm a mistake. So,
high five day at the Honda dealership in Jonesboro,
Come
Arkansas.
see us.
Yeah. Woo! Hello, everybody. And I found an effect that will make my teeth white. I have aphasia because of my dementia, but they don't have an effect that will take this double chin away. But I do want to tell you, I am so glad to have you all around. There seems to be a sea of trumpeters around this country, and as my mother would call them, the moral minority. And they may be loud and they may be proud, but they're not right. We know they're not right. We know that there's even people turning away from the Republican Party because of it, and I hate to see that, but the Lincoln Republicans, thank you very much for being...
It's Adam Murphy again, with one additional thought about the Supreme Court's insane decision to overturn Roe v. Wade in its entirety. Roe v. Wade was the case in 1973 that established your right to privacy, whether you are a woman, a man, a Democrat, a Republican, a liberal, a conservative. You have just lost your right to privacy. All of it. Think about the consequences of that action. This is a terrible decision.
What do they do? Are you going to do something when they go after same-sex marriage? What about contraception? When they ban it completely? Because they can do that now. Alito's decision wasn't based off of the fact that it's moral or immoral to have an abortion. He based it off of states should be able to choose. And because they set this precedent, they can choose to do whatever they want. like Idaho and other states like it trying to push laws to make it a felony for parents to take their kids out of state to get gender-affirming care. And if you think you're safe because you're not LGBTQIA and not a person with a uterus, are you in an interracial marriage? Because this Republican wants to allow the states to decide whether or not interracial marriage is allowed there. And they don't need your vote anymore. They can just take elections. So do you think that they'll let you keep your guns and overthrow them? Your naivete will be the downfall of us all. Wake up.
Well, folks, I don't always talk on here, but I am so upset about what's going on in our country. And like I explained it to my son, Wade versus Roe is a ceiling, and they tore out the guts in order to let that ceiling fall. The guts is what's going to affect everybody. It won't be long till they're coming after gay marriages. My son, who is gay, will not be able to walk down the street with his boyfriend holding hands. They may not even ever be able to live together. In part of Oklahoma, Shawnee, Oklahoma, they're trying to pass a bill against cohabitation, which could be anything from just not wanting to get married to gays and lesbians or anybody else, or even roommates trying to share the bills. And so more than ever, we got to get out there and vote blue. And I just moved to Arkansas from Indiana, and one is not better than the other. So since my feet are planted here, I marched in 73 with my mother at the age of 8, carrying picket signs for Roe versus Wade. And here I am at the age of 58, fighting again. And I'm not happy about it. I'm very upset about it. But we can do it. We can do it all together. Whether it is protesting, whether it's calling our senators, our representatives, even our local ones, even the ones that live down the street. I heard somebody say today in a live that they couldn't get their local person to listen to them, so they threatened to run against them in the next election. There's a thought. Let's get in there and do it. But things cannot go backwards. We can't go back to no interracial marriages, no gay marriages. We can't go back to that stuff. And the stuff that's happening now is horrific. But I would like to show off my new shirt. James for Arkansas. And I'm going to tag you in this. James for Arkansas. See you later.
Cousins. Apparently, Greg Abbott has lost his mind and wants to revoke the right for all children to be educated. And they are saying, including undocumented immigrants, which means he's also talking about American children. If you've been following me for quite some time, then you know a few months back when they started talking about overturning Roe versus Wade, I said this is going to open the door towards the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which are the Reconstruction Amendments created due to Black people's fight for liberation. That includes education. So if they're coming for Roe v. Wade, what's to stop them from coming from Brown versus Board? What's to stop them from coming for the 14th Amendment, which guarantees the right to citizenship? What's to guarantee that they won't come for the 13th Amendment, which is supposed to guarantee that we are not to be enslaved? Greg Abbott is playing a very dangerous game when it comes to...
As a lawyer, I look at the potential overturning of Roe v. Wade in a very different way than like a non-lawyer. So I'm going to try to explain in very simple terms why this is such an important decision for people other than women. The draft decision is based on the premise that any right that is not enumerated in the Constitution is not protected. The right to accessible abortion is considered a privacy right, and privacy rights is an interpretation created by the courts. Basically, it's not a law. It is a right that a court interpreted is protected by the Constitution implicitly. There are also other rights that are not enumerated in the Constitution that are protected by the interpretation of the. Now, a right can be protected by the Constitution in two ways. It can be through an amendment, which is where we get like the right for women to vote, the end of slavery. And rights can also be protected via the passing of a statute, but that has to happen through Congress. And also constitutional amendments have to happen through Congress. There are so many rights that we as Americans enjoy and take for granted that are not actually protected by the Constitution and that are not actually protected by a statute passed by Congress. They are things that the courts have interpreted are things that we can enjoy. Let's take, for instance, interracial marriage. Interracial marriage is banned actually in a few states still, but the reason why those laws don't matter is because the Supreme Court made a decision saying that that right to marry someone of a different race exists and is protected by the Constitution. So the potential overturning of Roe v. Wade on the premise that abortion is not in the Constitution is very dangerous, because that legal analysis, if it becomes precedent, can be used to attack any other rights that are not enumerated by the Constitution. And that includes interracial marriage, free education, gay marriage. So yeah, we can care that the healthcare of women is being stripped away, but it's honestly more than that. And a lot of BIPOC people are out here organizing to make sure people go and vote in the midterm elections so that we can get laws passed to protect our rights.
I voted blue today. Get out there and vote. Early voting has started. You have to excuse me, I've been outside working in this heat. But I was left this comment on the video I made about early voting and that I voted today and voted blue. And this was the comment I got. Too soon, too much can come up still if you care. I care very much, but I've also noticed that the blue, when they are caught doing something, a lot of them, I'd say at least 9 out of 10 of them, resign, drop out of the race. They don't continue. Unlike the Republicans or the trumpeters who continue to break the law time after time after time and still get voted in. I have faith.
This story isn't new, but it should never be forgotten. Please share if you agree.
So, quick little update for Elevated Access. And those who don't know, Elevated Access is a group of pilots that are volunteering their time, skill, aircraft, and resources to provide transportation for reproductive health care and gender confirming care. So, quick little update. We've raised over $7,500 in donations. We've got dang near 50 pilots. And we can grab somebody from pretty much any state in the United States, excluding Hawaii and Alaska, and get them to the health care that they need. So, if you know anyone that needs reproductive health care, gender confirming care, and they can't get it in their state or their location, direct them to us at elevatedaccess.org. And another quick little update. We have tagged Under the Desk News about 3,000 times. So let's keep it up. Let's let people know that we exist.